Carlos Olazba is many things. I'm going to go in reverse order because I think the payoff is spectacular here. He is an entertainer that founded Tinter Battles events and competitions, which means as a founder, he's also an entrepreneur. He's a front man, an entrepreneur. He is a window tinting professional, and we're going to be talking about
what's that you say?
It's tinting windows, man, and it's a sporting event for the skilled trade of window tinting, and all of their competitors are everyday working people. Let me just send people over here. This is website's well done. Event looks amazing. The whole thing is amazing. Tinterentertainment.com. That is
Tintertainment.
Tintertainment.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Tintertainment. Tintertainment is joining us this morning. Good morning to you, my friend. Welcome to Road Gang Radio, Carlos.
Hey, thank you for having me on the Road Gang Radio. My name is Carlos, the Texas Squeegee, and hello.
Hello, you've said that before, I feel like. Tintertainment is brilliant, dude. Come on. That's the entertainer in you. I love it.
Showman. Pure showman.
Oh, yeah. It's entertainment. It's Tinteractive. It's Tinteresting. It's Tinter Battles. Tintertainment.
Are you on Tinter? Is that how you meet your clients? Swipe left, squeegee left,
squeegee left,
right?
I think is the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Tintertainment.com, and you can find them everywhere on the socials because there's not a lot of people who have Tinter Battles, actually, except these guys. Carlos has got them. If you want to find them everywhere, the social medias exist. Tinter Battles is where the action is. Lindsay, I got a ton of questions. You got any before I start jumping in and picking this man's brain?
Well, no, I just wanted, we talk a lot about here, Carlos, the idea of, creating the thing that you want to see that is missing. You have the entertainer in you, the showman side of it, the entrepreneur side, the technical craft side, and then you were able to put all these together. But, I love those moments when it was like, hey, this is something I need. Here's how I can equate it. I'm a songwriter, and I'm like, oh, there's a type of music that I don't hear out there. Maybe I'll just go write it myself. With you, you're like, there's a niche that I'm missing. I'll go create it myself. What was that? The sort of moment the light went off, and you saw that you had access to something you could create a whole new space of your own.
We go back to when it first started, and I come from an influence of like wrestling and UFC, so I love the entertainment of it. I was a musician myself, so I've done performances on stage, but when I've got into this industry, I've been doing tinting since I was 12, but when I really started getting into the social circles and events, it was around like probably in my mid-20s, and I was realizing I would go to these events, and the one thing I was missing was an entertainment factor. Like, it was missing a show aspect to it. So as I started to create, my own character and bringing it out more to light, I saw that it was connecting with an audience. And then I realized that a lot of the everyday working people they just want to be appreciated for what they do. So I took on that role as a commentator and as an announcer to flare up the competitions, to flare up the events, to spotlight these everyday working guys. And, the rest has been history, as they say.
A lot of people these days, of course, are going face forward, kind of like making sure that what it is they do gets kind of seen. This is kind of a little bit of a deeper question, but the idea that when we talk about window tinting, that, of course, is part of a lot of other performative car stuff. The idea that the car itself becomes a performer, the car has its own costume, it has its own distinct look. It's a way of kind of distinguishing it from the rest of the competition. Lindsay and I are both obsessed with the idea of how the sausage gets made, and a lot of other people are too. People like behind-the-scenes stuff, and I was kind of curious if it's important for people to remember, if this is part of a project of helping people remember that, when you see a beautiful piece of machinery out there on the streets or the highways or at the racetrack, is to have people put a human face to what it took to make it look like that. And, the idea that people are often able to, it's their way of reminding people a lot of people worked to make this happen. It wasn't just the driver, and it wasn't just the lead mechanic, right?
Right. Yeah, there's what we've noticed is there's a growing fascination with how that gets done, because many times, with our industry, we tint windows not only to darken them up and give you privacy, but there's a huge aspect to also climate control of it as well. But many times they usually pay to get the service done, and they see the service after it's already on their vehicle or on their home or business. But when we started to produced it, and I started doing commentary over it to explain the techniques, to explain really what's behind it. I think what it allowed the viewers to see is that there is a lot more to it than what meets the eye. And there is a very ASMR satisfactory kind of transformative process whenever you see like a film being on glass and it looks bubbly. It doesn't look very good, but through the process of installing it with the squeegeeing, with the trimming, everything ends up coming out like a completely transformed window. And that's what I think a lot of people are really connecting to here.
Really quick follow-up, Lindsay, and that is exactly what I was hoping you'd say, because in many ways, a lot of people don't, anybody who has seen one of these videos and actually gotten a chance to watch this go from 0 to 60, they actually understand when the price gets quoted at them, they no longer wince. They go, oh no, I've seen the work that actually it takes to make this happen. I understand why these men and women actually are able to kind of charge the prices they charge, reasonable sometimes, but the wince goes away. If I know what is actually happening, it makes it a lot easier for me to understand that it's not magic. Therefore, give me my stuff for a cheap price. I can't help but think it's had an impact like that. I'm sorry, Lindsay, go ahead.
Don't be sorry, Jimmy Mac. No, so there's competitions you're running here, though. So I want to, and this is how I can equate it as well. So my husband and I, a couple years ago, Carlos, were on this HGTV show, and my husband actually works in productions. So he was like, how are we going to combine construction and production? Like it just, they don't match, because the quality will go away when you're in a production window. So, and sure enough, it did. The quality lacked in our home redo because we had to meet a production schedule. And as you know, like construction's over when it's over, not when you tell them it's over, right? And so I bring that up because I think there's a way here. You are, window tinting is a very skilled trade. And so when you think about now combining that with entertainment, how are you able to balance that so that the technique and the precision is not lost because we're trying to showboat? You know what I mean? You don't do that. So I'm asking you, you guys lean on the precision of it all. How do you stay in that lane?
Yeah, that's actually a very, very good question. It's very insightful, the way that you worded it that way, because it's very true. Like when we were doing competitions and there wasn't really a production aspect to it, there was a little bit more play. But when we started doing production and there's a schedule, then we have to balance, with the production to what the competitors are doing. But, it's one of those things that I feel like it's very important when you're the one organizing it, that you are also a professional in the field itself, because you understand, like, if we set up a time limit, hey, what is too short of a time where the quality gets sacrificed, and then we can't really showcase the true techniques of what they're doing. So we balance that pretty much through running simulations of the rules, to being very clear cut with the rules themselves. And one of the ways that I set up these competitions is to allow the rules where they need to be and allow the freedoms where they need to be. Because window tinting is one of those art forms where you're not going to find two people that do it exactly the same way. It's like a fingerprint. Everybody's going to have a slight variation. And the craft evolves as new tools come out, new techniques come out as well. So what we try to do is we try to have it so that people can really pursue their styles and they can pursue the tools that they want to do. What we do as commentators is we give you the technical breakdown of why they're using a certain tool, why they're going for a certain technique, what's the risk behind it, and really what can cost them if it goes wrong. So that's how we're able to balance between production and the competition itself, is knowing exactly like what these guys are doing.
Okay, that brings up the second question, is the fact that, one of the things that Lindsay and I are also big defenders of, and actually are going to kind of get into after you kind of shuffle off your radio coil. And by the way, I've seen this man's stuff. The quality of the website alone is the entrance point here. But you guys, you talk about the idea of you wanted to make sure that professionals were doing the work, the idea that you as a professional tinter would have a better sense of how this all had to run. One of the things that I'm always amazed at, and I know you don't because I've seen your work, is the dismissiveness of which a lot of people are like, I got a camera, I can talk, and then put together their entertainment, their quote-unquote entertainment. Talk about how you are able to merge the professional rigor of both the work itself that you are cataloging, while at the same time ensuring the best possible production for those who are enjoying the content.
It's a great question. It's the one word that comes to me is storytelling. And as being in the craft and being in the field and doing this on a daily basis, like you're able to pick up a lot of the techniques that really ends up mastering the craft. But being able to talk about them and having the experience of like one technique versus the others, the pros and the cons, why one person might go for this tool, why somebody else might go for a different tool. It allows for me as a commentator and as the announcer to not only give you a technical breakdown, but also to highlight and really create a storyline along that, maybe that 3 to 5 minute video clip, to create a storyline of this is what's at risk, this is what the goal is, and these are the dangers and everything, so that the viewer, even if you're not a window tinter, you'll understand what you're watching, because I always speak to I speak to the everyday person. You know, like I come from this industry and I'm a pro, but my technical breakdowns are very educational because I'm also a trainer as well. So I have that background of what can connect with people, and also I'm not the only commentator. I have another co-commentator with me. His name is David Carley, and he's able to explain things almost like where I'm half of the coin, he's the other half of it. So whenever you can get both perspectives. You know, I'm more of the entertainment. He's more of like kind of the everyday Joe. So you kind of get both sides. You get the flare up, and then you get more of the sort of the relatable commentator. But I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. The idea that you have a double commitment. You've got to actually stay on top of your own profession and really kind of lean into that so that you actually have the ability to kind of articulate the expertise of the situation, while at the same time it don't make a damn bit of difference if I'm not having a good time watching you. Perfect. Great. Good
right.
answer.
And one of those things as well is that you know, we get comments and messages all the time from people that watched it first, they thought it was easy, and then they go and buy an Amazon thing to do like a house window or something like that, and then they come back to the comment section and says, no, like this is actually a lot harder than it looks. These guys make it look easier, and that's I always say that's the marks of a pro, is whenever you're good at what you do, you make it look easy.
We have a lot of most of our core audience are over-the-road truck drivers, Carlos, as I think you know, and you know we try to remind them or empower them that they are an entrepreneur behind that wheel, and that they can take the skill they have and turn it into their brand or business, you know, with the right mindset. So I'm curious what advice you would give to whether it be a truck driver or specifically here for you to give to a technician who wants to turn their trade skill into a brand or business and level up.
Content and personality are the two things that are going to get you there. I think that what we have been seeing is more of a growing interest, or as I like to call it, Tinterest, to the everyday.
It never ends. It never
Oh
ends, does it, Carlos? The hits keep coming.
It's
keep going,
part of it, but what I've been noticing, I think there's a growing interest in the everyday working skill sets. You know, it's a lot of the things that don't really get talked about in schools as we're growing up. And I think part of that, I actually met Mike Rowe a couple of years ago. When I met him, I was remembering the show Dirty Jobs and why that show became as popular as it did. And I think he explained it that he made the everyday worker the subject matter expert. And so he was stepping into their world where, you know, we spend our daily lives just, you know, living day to day, but it's like you guys mentioned earlier, how the sausage is made. I think there's a growing interest in some of these skill sets, and especially as the newer kids that are growing up, they're tuning into social media and videos. And the recommendation I would have is if you have a passion with what you do, if you're a subject matter expert in that field, like people will find that interesting. Just find your personality within it. And many times it's not about being somebody you're not. It's embracing who you are. It sounds cliche, but it's true. And having fun with creating the content, talking about the things that are important to you, or you know, in your subject, for example, truck driving. I myself I love truck drivers. I don't know much about the truck driving itself, but I would find it fascinating to see what these guys see on the road. Like, what is the story? Do you see wrecks? Like, you know, I'm under the impression that, like, hey, these guys travel a lot, you know, but maybe they do travel, but maybe they don't. I don't know. Like, these are the things that I find interesting that I would want to know, is to tune into someone who does truck driving and what is it like to be one of those guys.
There are, by the way, some really great influences. If you're ever interested, we can tell you that our friend Mike Gaffin, the Boston trucker, is pretty terrific. Aubrey, who does trucking with Aubrey, is pretty amazing. There's a great podcast too, Lindsay, called Three Fat Truckers, which is just these.
Am I all three of them?
No, you're not all three of them.
Okay.
You're only one and a half.
Thank you.
It's all working out. But it's a really good point, though. The idea that we want inside stuff and we want inside inside stuff from an expert, but we also want that expert to actually be able to master the ability to, I don't know, have this crazy idea that when you have a story, it has a point with a beginning, a middle, and an end, which is my little planes,
Yes.
trains, and automobiles reference right there for everybody out there who doesn't know that particular movie. Explain to us how the film seminars work, because a lot of people really want to make sure that they get content created for all the good work that they're doing. How do you guys handle that?
As far as getting content for film seminars.
Yeah, I mean, how do you guys handle the film seminars? How long does that take? What is that? How do you guys show people how to do this stuff?
So we're having a 2-day show on January 10th and the 11th. The first half of the events are all training programs. So anybody that wants to get training, whether it's advanced or intro or beginner, they access the event itself. And there's a ton of trainers that we have from different manufacturers. So it's almost like you're walking into a buffet of just knowledge, and you gravitate towards the station that you want to, however you want to. You can tailor the experience completely to yourself. So, within all that, we have a production team who are the ones that are filming, and we film educational stuff on that so we can share it to the people who may not be able to come out here. The second half of those events, it's like, you saw you learned about the craft, then you get to see the pros battle it out. And that's the entertainment, and that's the competitions that we have. And again, we have production teams that film this and produce this online, so that whether you learned it in the beginning and now you're getting educated on the craft, and then you're getting entertained by it. So it creates the full ecosystem of really what our industry is about.
What's the impact here? So there's got to be, outside of, doing what you love and obviously wanting a career, wanting more people to know about it. But at the end of the day, what impact do you really hope that Tinter Battles will have, on the industry?
On the Tinter state. Sorry.
On the Tinter state. We'll have...
You're catching on.
Oh, yeah, we won't sleep from now on. This is all we're going to do. But what impact do you hope that it'll have on the industry and on the individuals who actually participate in it?
So on the industry itself,
on the tindustry, on the tintistry.
Tinters, yeah. The impact itself was what you guys mentioned earlier, which is to showcase the craft and the skill sets of what it takes to do what we do, because then there's an appreciation that comes from that to the end consumer, to the everyday person. Now, for the tinters themselves, the impact for them, a lot of these guys that we end up having in competitions go back home, and then they get picked up by local media in their areas because they see them as competitive, like tinters. It's like if you were to bring in a plumber and then you find out that this plumber he's a competitive plumber, he attends competitions, like that to me would be like, oh, that's a guy that is doing it for more than just a paycheck. He's doing it because it means something to him, so much so that he's willing to go out and compete his skills against another human's skills. And as far as like the youth are, the impact that we strive for is to introduce a new career set that is not traditional in the school system, because the school system doesn't always work for everybody, and rather than resorting to maybe some careers that don't really have a good path down the road, we just want to introduce this as an option and say, hey, you could learn a skill set, because window tinting is everywhere. Like this career in the window tinting side of the world, you could travel the world because there's work everywhere. So you can really tailor your career however you want to. There are people that learn it and end up opening a business and have an entrepreneurship and have multiple locations they sell. There's others who are subcontractors, so they get subcontracted out by big companies and they're traveling all over the place. And then there's your independent guys. These guys, sometimes they're travelers, or so they go and travel and do trainings with others, like other suppliers or other shops. So there's a wide variety for how you can really tailor your career set in this industry, and that's the impact. We just want to bring more awareness to not only our skill set, but also the careers that exist in our industry.
Carlos, we're about out of time, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, what's your window tinting walkout song? If you're getting pumped up, you're ready to tint those windows up in front of a crowd, what song are you listening to walk out?
Oh, the Brock Lesnar theme song from WWE. That thing pumps me up every time.
Come on. Let's go.
Every time.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hit Texas Squeegee's coming down that road is the most interesting Tinter Battles competition that anybody has ever seen. Oh, I get so pumped when I see that. And I can't wait. January 10th and the 11th, I can't wait for the show to get here.
That's Tintertainment. Tintertainment.com is the place you should go. Tinter Battles on all the socials. Guys, if you go over to their website, they do have some great social networking opportunities as well, too, where you can just jump in, join the conversation, join the chat, meet people.
Jim, guess what?
What?
In Carlos's own words, the show's in January. In the words of Game of Thrones, Tinter is coming.
Ooh, that was
Oh my
titillating.
God, that was fantastic. That was fantastic, by the way. Carlos Olazba joins us this morning. Best of luck to you. Happiest of Thanksgivings and all the other holidays that you celebrate, my friend. You're welcome back anytime.